Hey everybody. All right, it's our last chance to get some practice in before our 8-step assessment today. So I wanted to go through and run one more guided practice problem with you so you guys have another chance to work through with the teacher before you get started on trying this stuff on your own and seeing how we do. So if you look at the problem I have on the board here, I have 3,746 divided by 42. Now, you're a liar if you are telling me you know all your multiples of 42 or all the factors of 3,746. You're a liar. That's all I have to say about it. You don't know them, neither do I, but that's okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to use some estimation to figure out what we need to do to break this number down into smaller pieces. So right off the bat, if I look at my number here, I have 42 and 3,746. Well, looking at this quickly, I know that 42, I almost always round this either up or down to the nearest 10. In this case, my 42 would round closely to 40. I'm just going to put it up there to remind myself that my 42, I'm going to round roughly to about 40. 3,746, well, I don't know anything about that number, but what I do know is that this number looks an awful lot like a number that is one of the multiples of 4, which is 36. If I add the same number of digits as zeros here, I can actually do this problem in my head. I would cut some zeros off. How many times does 4 go into 360? Well, that would be roughly 90 times. So ladies and gents, my answer should be something close to 90. Give or take. So now that we've figured out, we rounded both of these numbers down, so 90 is actually a pretty good estimate for what my answer should be for this problem. Actually, I'm going to run this over here because I just realized you guys can't see that in the video. There we go. All right, so there's my estimate. Now, our estimate's not, of course, going to be exact. We're going to want to work through this to figure things out. But as we're working through and figuring out how many times numbers can go in to numbers over here, how many times we can take groups out, I'm going to continue to think of this as a 40 or as the number 4, depending on how many digits I'm dealing with at a given time. It's going to be real important for me. So I'm going to keep my 40 up here. I'm going to keep this up here, so when I'm done, I can check my estimate. All right, so I've got 42. I need to see how many times it can go into 3. Well, of course, 42 is far too big to take groups out of the number 3, so I'm going to put a 0 there. I'm not even going to worry about dropping my numbers down, because if I put a 0 here, I know that I haven't dealt with anything. I'm just going to worry about the first chunk of numbers I can take. Can I take group of 42 out of 37? Well, I actually can't take any groups out of that either, because 42 is bigger than 37. So I'm going to drop another goose egg. Now, these two digits we're still going to deal with. We're just going to deal with this entire clump of numbers first. We're going to deal with the number 374. Again, though, think of this as a 4, and this is roughly 36. I know 4 can go into 36 9 times, just like up here. So I'm going to try a 9 here and see how that goes. Again, we're just going to have to do the multiplication over on the side and figure out if we're right or wrong. So, again, 9 times 42. Well, 9 times 2 is 18. Carry my 1 up. 9 times 4 is 36, plus another one would give me 37. 378. Now, what I notice here right off the bat, 378 is going to be too big to go into 374. So actually, my estimate was a little bit off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this guy to an 8. And then we're going to redo our multiplication and see how that works out. 42 times 8, 8. 8 times 2 is 16. Carry my 1 up. 4 times 8 is 32, plus another one makes 33. So 336. That looks like a number that can go in here, and it should be less than 42, but let's double check. I have 336. We're going to subtract that out. Have to borrow from here, make that a 6. So 14 minus 6 is 8. 6 minus 3 is 3. 3 minus 3 is nothing. 38 is less than 42, so we are good on that step. Again, sometimes you'll estimate, and sometimes the number will be wrong. You've just got to keep guessing and checking. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to drop our 6 down. Now I've got 386 for our last digit here. Ladies and gentlemen, I actually happen to know, because of the work I did over here, I know that 378 is awfully close to 386. I think that's going to be as many times as I can put my 42 into that number. So I'm going to take my 9, put it up top, take my answer here, which was 378. I always keep, if I'm running these problems off to the side, I like to keep them there so I can go back and steal the answers if I need to. That way I didn't have to redo all that work. So now I've got 386 minus 378, and this looks like it's going to work out really well for me. 16 minus 8 is 8. 7 minus 7 is nothing. 3 minus 3 is nothing. So I have 89 with a remainder of 8. Now, this seems pretty reasonable because my estimate before was only 90. I'm only one digit off with a remainder, which means I am awfully close. So ladies and gents, remember, as you're going through these, estimate to see how big your answer should be at the front. It also allows you to think through how you might take numbers, take your divisor, groups of your divisor, out of your dividend. Remember, your dividend, if you can think through and estimate, you should get a good idea of what your answer should be or what it should be close to, and you'll be able to think through how you can take this number out of here. Again, dealing with that as a 4 and that as a 36 made this all a lot easier. Keep your multiplication off to the side so you can steal numbers back in if you need to. And at the end, make sure that you check and make sure that your estimate is close to your answer. The last thing I would urge you to remember to do is to use the standard algorithmic approach. Just like we did with each of these numbers, we multiplied, we got our number, we divided it out, we subtracted, we brought down the next one, and we repeated. Ladies and gents, that's all you need to do with each of these problems. Don't let it feel scary. You've been doing this for about 2 weeks. You got the approach down. If you have any questions, please shout out on the Zoom calls today before you start your 8-step assessment. We won't be allowed to help you on that 8-step assessment. Again, we want to know what you know, what you don't know, and what we can reteach you. But again, if you have any questions before you get started, make sure to give us a call. Thanks, guys. Good luck on your 8-step assessment. Follow the directions that are linked right below to get to your assessment. And then when you're done, if you have some time, go ahead and take a little time for extra math and Prodigy today. We'll talk to you later.